Hey, good morning to everybody. Happy Wednesday. It's Daryl here. It is bright and freaking early, man. It's 3 a.m. here in Connecticut on the East Coast. Okay, some mornings, as you guys, if you watch my channel, I tell you guys, I get up extremely early. I go to bed about 6 p.m., 7 p.m. I fall asleep reading. And I get up about 1 or 2 in the morning to start looking through stories to do this channel. So like I said, there's a small bunch of viewers, of subscribers that I see in real time. In the first 30 minutes of me downloading a video, I see the numbers start popping up in the comments. And I know that people wait for my videos. Even though it's a very small group of subscribers, I am so flattered by this. I feel obligated to put out some good content. So if you're looking for my video, it will be there. I feel like I'm letting people down. Even though it's a small group, I feel like I'm letting people down if I don't make sure I'm out here and making some good content to have people thinking about my views and people that share my views and people that don't share my views, and just something to think about in the morning. Okay, so usually I come up with an idea for a video, right? In the last few days, I've seen that my video the day before yesterday about Chicago Ray. Now I usually get anywhere from 50. I used to get about 500 views a day when I was when Bo the Fifth Column had featured my video. Let's talk about Bo the Fifth Column. That's my most popular video. It's gotten almost 175,000 views. Since then, it goes up and down. And Chicago Ray, last time I looked, it got quite a few views, 200-300 views. But what amazed me was the comments. And I didn't read. I tell you guys, I'm human. I am affected by comments. And I looked at the comments, and there was over 50 comments. And I saw these comments. I have a notification on my phone. And I see these comments coming in all day. And I kind of started this fight. I went to Chicago Ray's Twitter page, and I talked some smack there. So, I went looking for this fight. I'm going to talk about Chicago Ray a little more. Today, I was going to do a video. I had my tablet all out, and I was going to take some screenshots. I was anticipating what I would see in the comments. I figured I'd see some pretty angry, maybe even hostile comments. And that's what today's video was going to be, until I saw more stories. And I got so upset reading these stories. Honestly, I didn't think I could handle going and looking, and then now on top of that, going and reading the comments this morning. It's just I'm not in the right frame of mind. My hands actually started shaking as I was reading the stories that I'm actually going to talk about this morning. So I'm going to have to put off reading these comments because I'm already too ticked off. Like I said, my adrenaline's pumping. I can feel my heart beating. My hands are shaking. It's not the morning, because I'm afraid of what I'll say. Okay, so the two stories that I read this morning that kind of already got me fired up before I was going to do my video yesterday. The last 2 days. First, I did the video about Chicago Ray. I'm going to talk about that second. But first, yesterday I talked about my family having a conversation about gender-neutral bathrooms. And I had not heard about this story until this morning. So I did that video yesterday. And the thing that amazes me is I just don't understand why this bothers people. If somebody wants to use the pronoun, say there's a 16-year-old student like NEX BENEDICT who is now passed away because of all this. The thing that amazes me too, let me just skip Trump supporters. They're the people that are against this, Republican, conservative Trump supporters. There's only two sexes, male and female, 2 bathrooms, la da da da. Why? How does this affect you? How does a 16-year-old student wanting to be called they or their, use those pronouns, and saying that they're gender fluid or gender neutral, how does that 16-year-old affect your life? Why do you get so angry? Just because does it scare you because you don't understand it? I don't understand where all this anger and hatred and animosity, where it comes from. So this link will be down below. It's a 16-year-old student, and this happened on February 7th in Wasso High School. The thing that affected me about this student sounds like me. It's a 16-year-old NEX BENEDICT, and they were gender fluid. I'm really trying hard to use the pronouns they and their. because I'm a 50-year-old guy, and I'm okay with this, but I still have like old-fashioned gears in my head, and I'm tempted to say his or her or whatever. Okay, so the NEX Benedict in Oswasso High School, there was a lot of Trump supporters and anger. A lot of the libs of TikTok focused on this high school. Chaya Rychek, who does the libs of TikTok, she did several videos about this high school and about the librarian, and books. I thought we lived in America, and now there's all this book banning and all this other stuff. And she did a video about one of the teachers there, and he had to quit his job. And this student, NEX Benedict, who is gender fluid, 16-year-old, was very upset about that. And they made it a rule in Oswasso High School that you had to use the bathroom you were assigned to at birth. Well, what happened to NEX Benedict was they got beaten in the bathroom by 3 older girls. And long story short, NEX ended up passing away from their wounds, their head injuries. And like I said, the link's down below. And I got so angry reading this 16, and I could identify with this 16-year-old, even though this person was gender neutral. I'm a guy. I'm a heterosexual guy. But this person loved art. This person was a straight A student. I've talked about that. I was an A student, basically. I love art. This person loved their cat. And this person was part Native American from the Choctaw Nation, So there's a lot of things this person had in common with me. And I love that people just want to be themselves. They just want to be, and I love when people are different. I think that's what makes diversity makes life more interesting, makes this country more interesting. And I don't understand this mindset where supposedly, God-loving Americans get so angry and hateful that stuff like this ends up happening. Like I said, the link will be down below. You guys can read everything. It has to do with the libs of TikTok and a teacher there. And it ended with NEX Benedict, 16-year-old NEX Benedict, losing their life to a beating by 3 older girls in the bathroom who probably had parents that talked all kinds of Trump-loving conservative smack at home. They saw NEX Benedict in the bathroom, and now NEX is no longer with us. And this was a good person. This is a person that would have grown up to contribute something to this country. An artist, a straight A student, a loving, caring person, a good American by all. And the thing that amazes me is these people, these conservatives, these Donald Trump followers, claim to be God-loving and God-fearing. And this is what comes of their hatred. How did this 16-year-old affect your life? Why do you care? Why does it bother you so much? Why would it bother your kids? Why would you teach your kids not to be okay with this? Just a person being who they are. Okay, next, Chicago Ray. I've thought more about Chicago Ray, and he's talked more smack. There'll be another link down below. There was an article in yesterday's Daily Mail, because I kept checking to see if he's actually making any headway on this boycott of his, where he says that the truckers, there's thousands and thousands of truckers across the United States that love Donald Trump, and they're not going to deliver to New York City. So he said this in this article yesterday, that New Yorkers better start stocking up right now. And this bothers me, because I live on the other side of New York City, and I'm only 70 miles away from New York City. And this is a suburb of New York City, and the threat, and this is also a blue state, and the threat against them is a threat against me. And this is the thing that I just don't get, the hypocrisy of this. These people claim to love America, right? And there's all sorts of Americans. I don't know how many Americans live in New York City. 9 million, 10 million, 30 million. I'm not even sure. There's Republicans, there's Democrats, there's people that don't even listen to any political stuff. And this guy is willing to hurt them, to hurt other Americans because of his cultism to this one man. And I started thinking about this, like airline pilots. Do airline pilots, do they do this? I was thinking about how unprofessional this guy is. This is why he is an embarrassment as a truck driver. Do airline pilots do they refuse to fly to a city? Because it's conservative, because it's Democrat, because, it's one way or one, No, they do their job. Cops, firemen, bus drivers, they all do their jobs. But Ray here says we got to do something to protect Donald Trump. And I started thinking about this too. What happened to the president working for us? That the country is more important than the man. That America and our ideals, our Constitution, is more important than one person. Because Chicago Ray states his objective is that people stop effing around with Donald Trump. That's his objective. That's his point. That they stop picking on his cult leader. So he's putting this one man above all Americans, above the country, above the Constitution, above due process. It just, like I said, with NEX BENEDICT, what amazes me is these people call themselves good Christians. And this is what happened. This person lost their life. With Chicago Ray, same thing, good Americans. And this thing that he's doing is hurting. And they claim to want to make America great again. And this is their way of making America great again, by hurting millions of Americans who have nothing to do with any of this. People that live in New York City, people that live in Connecticut. Do you ever think about this? 95 runs up right through New York City. It is the pipeline. It is the major artery to all of New England, which is mostly Democrat leaning, blue. So when this guy picks a fight with New York City and says he won't deliver New York City, all of New England is affected by this. It's not just New York City and the millions of people there. We're talking about all of the Northeast, because those trucks usually have to go through New York City to get here. So if they're refusing to go to New York City, they're not coming to New England either. So he's picked he's blaming a whole quadrant of the United States for picking on his cult leader to leave. That's his objective, to leave Donald Trump the F alone. That's his objective. That's his righteous American objective. One man, one billionaire, one freaking guy who inherited billions of dollars, a New Yorker, and to leave him alone. So he doesn't have to answer for his deeds like all other Americans. So we're supposed to all overlook anything to do with Donald Trump, his hiring Stormy Daniels, his paying off Stormy Daniels, his phone call in Georgia, where I heard him with my own ears ask the Secretary of State of Georgia to fine seven. I heard that with my own ears. That isn't like woke nonsense or anything. I heard that. And they want him to have like special privileges, to not mess with him like he's the king, like he's God, like he's their cult leader. That's not America. None of this is America. Picking on a 16-year-old kid because you don't understand, elevating Donald Trump above millions of Americans, denying them food, clothes, medical supplies. That's your idea of making America great again? That's your idea of being a professional in your field? By denying half the country of what you're supposed to deliver? You are an embarrassment to truck drivers. You're an embarrassment to men. You're an embarrassment to people my age, Generation X, Chicago Ray. I'll say it again. This is why I didn't read the comments, because I'm already fired up, and I can't. God help me if I read those comments this morning. That'll be tomorrow. I'm sorry I was so angry this morning. I'll be back later, and I will read the Chicago Ray comments. I don't know what it's up to now, maybe about 80 comments. I'll read them maybe tomorrow if I calm down. You guys have a good Wednesday.